Okay, hello everybody. My name is Leah, or if you're from my Tumblr, it's the Lady of Love. I am a Hellenic polytheist and a devotee to Aphrodite, or not a devotee, a worshipper of Aphrodite. I haven't got to that stage yet, but anyways, I am quite new to Hellenic polytheism. I only started getting into it November last year, but I wanted to make this video as a way to educate complete beginners on Hellenic polytheism and some of the general stuff that the religion covers. So if you want the transcript of this, I will have the Google Docs in the post or in the description. I have one for people who can read normally and one for people who may have dyslexia or ADHD or just problems reading in general. I hope this is informative. If not, it's just stuff you already know. It's not the best. This is my first video. I'm trying my hardest, but anyways. If you want more information, there are sources at the bottom of the transcript. I definitely recommend the Pastel Priestess on Tumblr as well. She's an amazing pillar of this community, I must say. So I'm going to start with what Hellenic polytheism actually is, and if you've done any looking around, you may have seen it has different names depending on who you ask. According to the Wikipedia article about the modern religion, it also goes by the name Hellenism, Dodecatheism, and Olympianism. The article also mentions the Hellenic ethnic religion, which is the name given to the religious group of Hellenics that are in Greece. The majority of Hellenics outside of Greece do not give themselves this title. The religion centers around the worship of the ancient Greek gods, mainly the 12 Olympians, but there are many who worship minor gods, heroes, and many minor deities who accompany the gods. Some Hellenic polytheists also choose to expand their pool of gods and worship gods from other pantheons. Opinions on this practice do vary, however the general consensus is that it is completely acceptable to do, so long as you don't paint any one god or pantheon above another, and I agree with this opinion. So the main core of Hellenic polytheism is called the 8 Pillars of Hellenic polytheism. The 8 Pillars of Hellenic polytheism is a fairly new concept in the religion and was derived from what little scraps of the ancient worship remained, as well as the writings from philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle. Although they have conflicting ideas, enough of their views overlap for modern Hellenics to make their own pillars. It's important to note that the pillars were never something the ancient Greeks had, and these pillars were simply a statement of their culture, and were usually passed down through family. They were never written by any ancient Greek, and this is only a modern interpretation of what little we have. So the 8 pillars as we know them today are, and excuse my pronunciation of these, Ethic Arte, which is living to one's fullest potential. This pillar is simply that the gods ask that we all try to do our personal best in everything. I'd like to stress that this pillar can bring a lot of harm to Hellenics with mental and physical illnesses, and I won't go into too much detail here, but if you do decide to become a Hellenic, please know that the gods understand your struggles, and they are not upset with you if your personal best isn't consistent. They are very forgiving. The next one is Eusebia, which is to have loyalty to and serve the gods. The wording of this one is a little confusing since earlier I stated that Hellenics can go outside the Greek pantheon to worship. All this means for a modern Hellenic, even if you choose to worship other gods, is that you must not forget your gods and treat them as equals to other gods. Remember to worship and serve your gods is all this asks of you. The next one is Hagnia, which is spiritual and ritual purity. In Hellenic polytheism we have a concept known as miasma and lima. I won't be delving into it too much here, but it's basically what humans attain from simply being mortal and doing mortal things such as dying, getting diseases, as well as more unsavory things such as committing crimes. Many of our gods do not like miasma and lima and ask their followers to cleanse themselves before confronting them. More on cleansing potentially in another video, if it's what you want. The next one is Sophia, which is the pursuit of wisdom and understanding. The gods wish for us to understand ourselves and the world around us and them, to take the time to learn and understand our spirituality. This is at least my interpretation of this pillar. I believe it's pretty self-explanatory. The next one is Sophrosun, which is to practice self-control. This is a pillar I am not too bothered by, as I don't think I have much of a problem with any addictions, except maybe to my laptop and phone. This pillar asks that Hellenics sway away from temptation and to live life in moderation. The Greeks had a big thing of having a minimalist yet fulfilling lifestyle, and their religion reflects that. The next pillar is Xenia, which is to be hospitable, courteous, and respect the guest-host relationship. This pillar does by nature include times where you'd invite someone into your home or go to someone else's. It asks that Hellenics be respectful of their hosts and guests, to treat them with hospitality and kindness. This pillar also addresses inviting the gods into your home and life. They are your guests and you must treat them with respect, and in return they will show you respect. The next pillar is Kahasis, which is gratitude and giving without expectation. This pillar is the expectation that Hellenics will continue to pray, give offerings, talk to their deities for the sake of building a relationship with them and not for something in return. The ability to show gratitude for the small things the gods do for us. As many will agree, although it is not bad for Hellenics to go to the gods specifically for favors, but only going to the gods for favors is seen as disrespectful. The last pillar is Nomos Archaeos, which is observance of ancient traditions, religions, law, and customs. This is the pillar I know the least about, since I'm not a Reconstructionist, although I believe it means to be respectful and attempt to imitate the ancient way of worship out of respect for the gods. This one I believe should be optional, as the pillars above already show a great respect for the gods, and many modern Hellenics cannot worship the way ancient Greeks did. Now in the previous section you see me reference Reconstructionist and Revivalist, and you're maybe wondering what those terms even mean. Well, they are both terms used for the different ways Hellenics go about their practices. Reconstructionists, or Recons, are Hellenics who seek to worship the gods like the ancient Greeks did, to pay respects to tradition. Many attempt to follow ancient festivals, rituals, altars, and household worship, and also tend to use hubris, miasma, and lima in their practices. Revivalists are Hellenics who attempt to modernize the ancient worship and adapt it more to the way our world works. This includes devotional acts, journaling, modern divination, unconventional altars, and more. The worship shapes around the worshipper instead of the other way around. This is the type of worship I follow more closely, but most Hellenics will be somewhere in between the two. When looking around the Hellenic tags on Tumblr, you may have come across the phrase matron and patron deities. Many Hellenics choose to worship a handful of gods, sometimes only one their whole lives. Finding a patron or matron deity isn't difficult at all. Just look at your job, or what job you want, your position in your family or community, and you'll find a god there. If you are a wife who wants to be a writer, then you already have Hera, Aphrodite, Apollo, and technically Hermes as your patron deities. If you are wanting to be a lawyer or judge, then Zeus is your patron deity. If you are still a child living with your parents, then you have Hestia and Artemis, and so on. There will always be a god or minor deity for your position in life. And if you're wondering, matron is the female version of patron, in case that wasn't clear. I also want to make it clear that you don't need a patron deity, or any particular deity you want to worship. There are many people, Recon and Revivalist, who worship the entire pantheon, and there is no shame in wanting to give them all love, or simply not feel a pull to any particular god. Worship the way you want to. Thank you all so much for watching this video. This is the first time doing something like this, so I hope everything is okay and it was informative. If you scroll down to the next page, my sources are there. There's not many of them because a lot of this was common knowledge from researching over and over again, and I can't find many sources, but I hope this will encourage you to do further research and to maybe think about joining the religion. It's amazing. Bye bye.